Hello, everybody. I hope this works. This is always the constant fear. Did it work? Did it switch on? We don't know. It's live, isn't it? My name is Mandy Celine. I just want to, before I get into who I am, because you probably don't know who I am, totally fine. I'm not one of those people. Can you hear me okay? And let me know where you are from. I would love to know. Oh, we have someone from Montana. Very cool. My name is Mandy Celine. I think you can all hear me. Wonderful. Great. So, as I said, I'm Mandy Celine. I'm currently based in London in the UK, so it is 8 p.m. here. So it's once I've done this, I'm done. I'm so ready for the weekend. You have no idea. It's been a week, guys. It's been a month, really, hasn't it? Wonderful. Oh, Georgia, very, very cool. So who am I? I'm a filmmaker. I'm a cinematographer. I'm an editor, and I run my own post-production digital content creation agency. What a mouthful! Pick a title, I know. But we specialize in with creators and with brands on their digital content. So we work a lot with creators. We work with a lot of creators in the US. We work with a lot of creators in the UK, and sometimes they all travel and go around the world. So that's who we are and what we do. It's been an adventure. Oh, wow, lots of Americans here today. What a pleasure from both East, West Coast, and everywhere else. Canada. Oh, Tampa. I haven't been to Tampa in years. Last time I was in Tampa was 2018. So very cool, very cool. India. There's something different. Very cool. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming to listen to me. So today what we're going to cover is some basics of Premiere Pro. We'll go into like the workspaces, organization. We'll even touch on the color panels, some of the sound panels. My goal is to make things more easy to digest, less scary looking, because Premiere can be a very intimidating software to someone who's just opened it up. There's a lot of bells and whistles, panels, buttons. Totally get it. I feel the same way when you put me into like an audio software. So it is what it is. We're all still learning. Oh, no, this is early. Oh, no, wait. Yeah. Cool. Just checking in on the comments, making sure everything is great. Last time we had an audio issue. Time before that, we weren't even on. So we're all just learning and trying to be here. Great. I'm going to get started in literally a minute. I just want to make sure everyone who got a notification got their notifications and they're here, because missing the first part always sucks. You're like, oh, catch up from that point on. So, hello, fellow UK people. Hello. Tell us about titles. I will talk to you about graphics and titles and as much as I can. Last time I went over a significant amount of time trying to show the entire like basic 101 of what I can do in Premiere. Might not be as deep, but if you wanted to catch up on that, there is also that live stream. But this one we can go through together. My goal is to also check the chat pod and make sure we can like answer some questions as we go along. Maybe this one will be a bit different. Probably should be. We're all different people. So wonderful. I think with that, we should get into Premiere, don't you? No, not even. Jumping ahead. You know what? We're not even going to touch Premiere for a second because we need to talk about a really important topic. Such an important topic, and it's organization. It's a topic extremely close to my heart. So, especially if you're new at editing, you probably haven't heard this, but editing is just organizing clips. Most of editing is organization, from like where you store it to like just putting them in the right order. So I hope there's a lot of type A's in the chat because this is a perfect job for you. I'm going to go through how to like data wrangle all your footage, or maybe you're an aspiring editor that wants to work other people. I'm going to help you make sure your workflow is great. Maybe you're the client. Maybe you're a creator that wants to hire an editor but understand the process a bit more. This is also extremely valuable because we onboard clients by putting them on this kind of organization setup as well. Hello. I am indeed from London. If the accent did not give it away, I understand. Some people are like, where are you from? Because I have a bit of a twang, apparently. I can't hear it. But apparently, from time to time, I sound teensiest bit American. It's because my partner is American and all my clients, a lot of them are American. So I have spent the last 6 years interacting with Americans. And apparently, I've just picked up a few flatter letters. But yes, I am indeed English and from London. If we're really getting in deep, I'm from 2 Irish people, but that's a whole other story. We're not going to try and make a full montage today. We can, but we literally didn't have time last time. There was just so much to cover. That said, the clips you're going to play with today, if you wanted to just mess around with them with me, I made a whole story because I got the opportunity. They were like, do you want to use Adobe stock? And I was like, you know what? That's a challenge. Yes, please. The tired Mandy I am, found a lot of just animals doing stuff. And in my head, the story was there's a slow motion triumphant dog running. He has seen a bowl of water. Little does he know that this is a trap from some cheaters that want to eat him, and he gets warned by a baboon or a mandrill. Not sure they're the same thing, if I'm honest. They look very similar. And two other dogs. And if we have time, it's to build that scenario. I recorded just me, my cringy voice, trying to. I'm not a voice actress. Do stuff. That would be it. So let's get into some organization. I think we should start with that. Let's see if this works. Magic button. Oh, look at that. I did it. I'm in a circle. Hi. Welcome to Circle Land. This is the template I keep on my desktop. I actually have one of this also on whatever hard drive I'm working on. Basically, sometimes on a hard drive, I may move that template instead of copy it. It's highly annoying, so in that case I like to make sure I have a backup instead of remaking this every single time. Oh, it's okay good now? Okay, it's probably just because I changed scenario. There is also an ever so slight lag. I'm hoping it's not buffering, because it's telling me the stream is in excellent condition, but I don't know, I've been lied to before. I have trust issues with this whole streaming thing. This is literally the second one I've ever done, so please be patient with me if my setup is not perfect. Okay, so I don't think you can see my mouse, so I'm just gonna click on it and work through arrows. Yes, that will work fine. The first thing I always have in this template folder is a Premiere scratch. I shorthanded it to Prem. Probably not appropriate for Premiere if they wanted to have the proper names up, but this is how I work, and that's what you came to hear, apparently. So with the Premiere scratch, I've made a project which I'll show you how to make. That is kind of like my template. It's already got its folders all organized inside there, so I just need to drag my relevant pieces of content, whether it's footage, audio, music, sound effects, stills, you name it. It's already like the folders already set up within this template. What's also key is I've also set up where the full scratch disk is. A scratch disk is kind of like where all the files are made for that Premiere Pro template. I will show you how to do that as well. So this is like a preview of what's to come when we actually open the software. If it's not great, I can get rid of my face off the other videos moving forward. Or I can, let's see if this helps. Hang on. I'm just going to change something on my camera. So this could be a really fun angle. Nope. Nope. Oh, it's all backwards. Oh, what a joy. Just an absolute pleasure to work backwards. That button. Let's see if it helps if I move into this. Okay. You let me know. I've moved away from a different codec. We'll see if that's any better. Let me double check. Brilliant. Okay, so we will go into the software in a second. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like my face. I spent some time making it look better than it really is in real life. The lies of makeup and lighting. Sorry. I mean, I make myself laugh. You have to when you're talking for an hour or two. So the Premiere Scratch, I will show you how to do that momentarily when we open up Premiere. I do already have Premiere open, so we'll jump past the first window you get, but you can still do it the same way. The next folder I have is my footage folder. I have further broken this down. This can get quite extensive depending on how many cameras there are, how many scenes there are, but generally for a content creator, you have your A-roll, which is like this. It's very much this setup, your piece to camera, like, hey, what's up guys? I'm gonna give you a tutorial on something. Welcome to my channel. Look at my really cool RGB lights. That makes me look cooler than I am in real life. That is very much your A-roll, your piece to camera with all the dialogue. Oh no, it's getting worse. Okay, I'll change it back. Oh, we tried. This is meant to be the easy codec, by the way. That, and then try this. And then, oh, let's try Let's really try this. Let's see if this helps. If I change out the color settings. Oh, I'm already quite warm. This is going to be a heck of a stream. Let me know if this gets better. I will jump screens and hopefully that helps. Okay, brilliant. So A-roll is your pieces to camera. It's this. It's the YouTube shot, right? Your B-roll, you might have seen, it's become very popular the last couple of years for YouTubers to do montages or to put clips on top of their footage because we're starting to learn how to edit better. We've got more resources. We have editing software. We have multiple cameras. The cameras are getting somewhat more affordable. Some of them are still extortionate, and that will always happen because everyone wants a cinema camera. But you have GoPros, DJI Pockets, webcams, you know, and people have two cameras, so they'll have a webcam here, a webcam here. It's getting nuts. People really decided to experiment over our Zoom year, didn't they? Anyone else tried to buy lots of equipment and couldn't do it because everyone had decided to have a home setup of video gear for zooming. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun for everyone. So your B-roll is going to be like that montage clip that you put to music, or maybe you're a beauty YouTuber and it's showing off a product, or a tech YouTuber, they do that too, where they get like all that really pretty shots of a laptop, all sorts. I am hardwired. I am, and it says excellent connection. I don't know what's happening. Sorry. It might be. Let me just double check my sound settings. There's a slight chance I did something stupid. It happens. You know, I'm not saying I'm the brightest person in the world. Sometimes I miss and change buttons. Nope. I'm gonna give it one good go. It's on the right sample rate, guys. I know what I'm talking about with sample rates. I'm an editor. I'm not exactly not a nerd. You learn codecs. So B-roll, I think that's kind of covered it. It's your additional supplementary footage. In my case, if I wanted to go to Premiere, which I'm going to try now, oh, I can make Premiere bigger. That's really nice. I'll do that for you guys. No one wants to see a screen that small. Come on. Come on. We can do this. I believe in us. There we go. Oh, too big. No, no. Perfect. Cool. So that is the B-roll. It is lagging just a little bit, isn't it? I'm sorry. I'm trying my best. Anyway, just double checking the comments. Blah, 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 blah. You all with me? Brilliant. Cool. And the next folder, I think we can move on to the next folder. So I need to go back to this window. Audio. Audio, I would usually put more folders in here. Sometimes people just will have one sound file, which is probably why I haven't got more folders in here. When it's a big production, I have a lot more. If I have more than one microphone going on or I'm interviewing two people, it gets broken down further in the exact same way the footage folder does. Here is where I put all my dialogue. I might even break this down into like, no, actually I don't put it in my audio one. I do the next part where I break down my music. I will have a music file usually and a sound effects file if I need the sound effects. Because like maybe I'm doing a montage and I want to have that like wind sound in the background to make it sound really cool and eerie, and then the music drops and it gets really intense and awesome. Maybe I want to Foley in a bird in the background. I will have a sound effect file. Maybe it's just like sounds for when you have graphics appear on screen. The amount of times I film myself going because I think that like it just sounds better. The amount of times I've done that. So okay, I'm just checking in. I think the problem might be better. Next up is graphics. These elements aren't so much photos. These are going to be like maybe the stuff I want to pop onto a screen as a demonstration. Maybe they are what I would call alpha files. Alpha files work like PNGs where the background's transparent, and I mean real transparent, not Google transparent where you like Google transparent image and then it's got like that checkered background and you're like, oh, you lied to me, I hate you. Google images. but it's more of like, it'll have the transparent background. It's exactly, I can show you what this is. Where is it? It's like maybe around here. This is a video that is an alpha file. It's completely transparent so that I can put it over the top of this. I would put my assets like this: lower thirds, Instagram handles, also the place I would put videos for like end cards, title cards, things like that. If I don't have to change the, like, it's if the title card is consistently the same, which I've got to be honest is not always the case. That's mostly for my more corporate clients. Next up is stills. This is usually, unless I have photography that has to go into the edit, this is one that's usually empty and where I export stuff to from Premiere Pro, because you can export frames from your videos. Perfect for thumbnails, because something we recommend for all our clients is that they send us a 10 to 15 second clip for thumbnails. This clip, and most YouTubers do this, is a bit like this. And it's just every expression they can think of in that moment that's related to the video. And then we take a screenshot of that and we put that as the thumbnail, because that works, and it has to be like eyes to camera. It works the best. So that's the kind of stuff we put here. Misc is not me having an often dyslexic moment that you'll probably see as I type today. It actually just means like it's not music, it's misc. It used to be called the other folder, but that seemed quite generic to me. My misc folder is where I might put documentation that's relevant to the project I'm working on. Maybe it's scripts, maybe it's contracts, but this actually wouldn't be put into Premiere Pro. This is just relevant information to the video. Maybe it's even a spreadsheet, who knows? And then lastly, the folder that's here for every single project I have is exports, and you'll notice that there is a subfile in there. In a perfect world, you export a video, and it's the only copy of it. In a perfect world. That never happens. It's so rare. It's so rare. Like, maybe you've missed the frame, like two frames of an adjustment layer with color and it goes a bit grey and the client catches it. Maybe it's the text needs to change in it, a re-edit, a revision, and then you start getting to like version 2 land, version 3. Very often you don't go past version 2 or 3 with a YouTuber at least. You might end up saying things like, oh, a great video, final version 1, final version 2. With a corporate client, which is always enjoyable. For that reason, I have old, where I stick in all the older copies, because naturally when I search the video, I want to be able to find the main one we use that has to go out everywhere. And all the rest go in this old folder, because they actually sometimes get really useful later. Sometimes they're legacy content. Sometimes they're just like, we love this video, could you just cut this section out? And sometimes it's easier if you have to pass it on to do yourself, and you can be like, oh, here you go. So there is all of that, and that is the organization of my Finder folder system. Now you can do this obviously inside of Windows as well. This is just what mine looks like because I am working on a Mac, and not just any Mac, an old Mac. It's from late 2013. So if we see some choppiness in the video later, I apologize. I was exporting something for 8 hours the last few day or so, my computer's very hot and temperamental today. I usually try to cool them down before the streams, but you know, why not have a computer that's just like me? Am I right? Hot and temperamental? Oh, terrible joke. I'm sorry. I apologize forever. So what do we move on to next? I think we're going to move on to Premiere Pro, and a Premiere Pro with a tiny Mandy, if we can. If this bothers you, please let me know. I'll just get rid of the video and we won't have the lag. So that will be super easy. Now, ignore that this thing seems to have remembered I have dog footage. This would usually be black, but when you're greeted into Premiere Pro in the editing workspace, it looks a lot like this. This is when you go into that menu, it gives you like a first menu. I just didn't want to load that up in case it was going to be a bit slow. I didn't want to waste your time. And you would just click new project, and it would usually be an empty version of this, minus dog, although he is a really good boy, am I right? Just such a good majestic boy. So I'm gonna do a guide of these like workspaces we have going on here, but something I want to draw to your attention to before we even get started on that is there is indeed a learning tab on the top left, which I have clicked. Oh, we don't like this, do we? We have just told my computer I'm working on Premiere now. It was fine till I was streaming. Right, so the learning tab, there we go, it's going to open in a second. The learning tab has lessons for you guys so you can actually learn, and they are adding to it all the time. I wish this was there when I first started editing, but I've been editing for a decade, for a long time now. So yeah, there we go. Well done. I need to name this computer, but I've had it close to a decade and it's still audio desync. Okay, bye Mini Mandy. You're gonna go away for a while. This is you watch me do all the waving so you know what's going on. This is the learning tab. There are loads of tutorials. See here, they have even added tutorials, which is great. And you can actually go through and edit with the program and learn how to get through the software. And actually the new tutorials they've added, I looked at them, they're a bit more advanced than some of the ones that are already there. So you can like really learn how to create different kind of videos, color, audio, all sorts. I highly recommend you dip into this tab, just to like, if this is not enough, you can go in and practice there as well. So let's get into, I go to the editing tab. There is an assembly tab. There's loads of workspaces here. These are all different workspaces. You probably don't have one or two of them. Totally okay. That's because I made them. I will go into that shortly. Let me just go a bit, let me have a look at my notes. Brilliant. Let's do our tour. So this is the editing tab. We're going to go from left to right. I'm going to attempt a Mini Mandy. Let's see if she works. Can't promise anything. Mini Mandy is temperamental. Thank you. Just saw one of the comments about my accent. I actually really want to keep my British accent. I like it a lot. Let's hope my boyfriend doesn't ruin it with his American ways. So the first thing here is the source window. This is when you have footage in your project browser, which we don't have yet because we haven't made a project, but let's do it. Let's open up a new one. Let's start there. File, new project. That's the simplest way to do it. So when you come into Premiere, we'll start here before we go through the workspaces. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm just so excited. I don't want to teach you guys, you know? So the new project file, you're greeted with this usually when you want to start a new project. We're going to start here with a really cool test, because it's not just a test, it's a really cool test. You're going to want to save that wherever you want to save it. This will become, like for me, this would be a scratch folder of mine. This one I have put in the webinars one, apparently. So there we go. And then I'm going to make sure everything's okay. Generally, this will pick the best graphic. This is your graphics kind of engine. Timecode display, this is all great. Great. The thing that's really key after this, because you shouldn't really have to change too much every time you make a new project, is your scratch disk. You really want to make sure that all of this is the same as project. All of it. If it's different, you're gonna have a problem. You're gonna have a bad time. I can't even remember where that's from. Otherwise, everything you shouldn't really need to touch, which is great. It's just that's something you want to check, and then you're going to click OK. And then we're going to have a really cool test. And then this is where we enter the workspaces for the first time. But apparently my source window is still going to remember this very good boy. So down here we have our project window. This is where we will make sequences, our footage. Oh, what are you doing? No, sweetheart, no. Sorry. This is where we will put our footage, import stuff. Clearly I accidentally hit my import shortcut or something accidentally. And that's there. There is also a load of other windows that you don't necessarily need. Now, if you want to improve performance within Premiere Pro, you can actually just close these windows by clicking the hamburger menu here and then clicking close panel. Now, something to know, I'm going to keep doing this while I'm talking, is actually you can customize these workspaces and make your own, which is something I do. I like to make sure there is just no extra. I don't really need the history either. I don't like to have too many panels. It does slow it down for me. personally. But this might not be the case if you have actually a good computer, but some of us are waiting for that M1X 16-inch MacBook Pro, and somebody's not releasing it. And I refuse to buy the previous ones because then I just waste money, but that is a rant we don't need today. So that is this window. We also then have, what I have left is the effects panel, because I got rid of the other ones. These are all your like audio transitions, your video effects. Let's have a look at them. You might not have some of these because I have some presets built into my computer, but you'll have things like a zoom transition and a cross dissolve. The most popular one is here, the cross dissolve, or the dip to white is actually, I've got to say, a client favorite. Almost everyone's like, I want it to dip into white and go into something else. I'm like, sure, I will do whatever you like. You pay my bills. If you close out that top bar, and how do you bring it? Wow, sorry, wasn't able to bring it back. I might have to put on my glasses in a minute. Apologies. So if you've closed the bar, you go up to window, and there's two things you can do. You can go to workspaces and then reset save layout, and that should bring everything back, and that it's okay. You fixed it. The other thing you can do is scroll down and make sure workspaces is checked as well. So it's all in this window area is where we can control our workspaces. So if anyone's done that accidentally, it's okay. I've got you. You're doing all right. I believe in you. Let's get back to our workspace up here. So like this is all your video and audio transitions. The most common one you're probably going to use in audio anyway is a crossfade. I think it's one of the only ones on here anyway. Yeah, you'll probably use the constant power one, so you'll be fine. And there is also audio effects, but you don't even need to look at the effects panel for that kind of stuff. You'll know why later. Don't worry. We're going to have so much fun today. Then the next thing here is a source window. What the source window is meant to show you is not a dog. So if you don't have a dog on your window, that's fine. That's completely normal. This is my computer having a cached memory issue because it's not here. What are you looking at? This should be black if you've got nothing going on currently in your project. So this is going to show you what is down here. The source window only shows you what is in your project panel that you click on here footage-wise. The program monitor will show you what's in a timeline. It is useful usually to have both. So this is what we use usually to make our selections to put into the timeline, so we can see what we're doing before it goes into the timeline. So yeah, the best thing you can do is make sure this is on fit, so it fits into whatever window, because if it's on, maybe this will disappear if I do this. If it goes to 100%, it doesn't fit and you can't see the whole thing. It will just show it to you. I think this clip is in like 1080, so it'll full whack it to 1080. But we want to minimize that. This is your little playhead that will play through this dog. Maybe, I don't know, this is a cached image, it might not. No, it's not going to. This dog, if you click this, this is like the film strip tool. Okay, thank you for the thumbnails. You can drag this into your timeline to have a clip. You can do the same with audio. What I recommend if you're on a slower laptop like myself as well, is you can down res the preview. So I tend to have mine on a quarter. It like works usually quite fine. And then if you want additional settings, there's this wrench here where you can also, again, change the playback resolution, but you can also change the paused resolution. So at the moment, this is showing it to me in the full resolution. It's usually fine for me because when it's paused, it's paused. So that it is what it is. Otherwise, you don't need to worry about this too much, especially if you're just learning. There's just a lot of other options here that will bring you up to a more advanced level. There is also additional buttons down here. Here is where you can add markers. You can mark in and out. I will be going through these features in a lot more depth when we're actually looking at footage. So don't worry. And ways to insert it and ways to export a frame. You'll also see the shortcut for Shift and E, which is another way to export a frame. And that will export the frame your playhead is at. Over here is the time code of the beginning of the clip and where your playhead currently is. And over here is the full duration of the clip. So that is the source window in a nutshell. This is followed by the effects controls panel. Usually when you have a clip on, you'll get some basic transform tools like your position, motion, scale, things like that. You will see this later. You might have an audio clip mixer here. This is something I'm actually going to close because we don't need today, but this is where you can do some advanced editing of clips. It affects all the clips along a track, but not the track in not a track in its entirety. So we're going to close that down. And this is the metadata of your stuff. You don't really need to know this. This is where it's because your project will also give you some metadata as well. I'll be honest, you almost definitely don't need that window. So we're going to close that as well. Next up is our program monitor, which is extremely similar to our source window. It has almost the exact same buttons everywhere. And by the way, you can always add more buttons as you need them by playing the pluses on either one. And this will show us what's in here, which is usually our timeline, which has nothing on it yet. We have not made a sequence. We're just not there yet. We will, don't worry. I can see you're getting hysterical. You need to stop. And then we have our audio levels here. Now this is, I always have audio levels up, so if they're not there, I bring them up because I like to know if my footage is too loud or too quiet, and I will show you how you know that later. And then the last over here, we have some tools, and these are the tools that will help you cut your footage and drag clips and move them along the timeline and add text and all sorts. The main ones we're going to use today are just the selection tool. Its shortcut is V. And we will use some of the cut tool, which is C. The other shortcut you can use for the cut tool is Command or Control, I believe on a Windows, and K. That will also do a cut. And then the other really useful feature is in these. So, the rate stretch tool is a very useful one. I always point out to people its shortcut is R. That's where you can like hold the end of a clip and slow it down and speed it up. Don't worry, I will be going over these again, so don't feel like you're like, she's going too fast, she's going too fast. It's because we're going to go over them. It's just I'm giving you a preliminary warning. And then this one as well. Nope, that's not the one I'm thinking of. That's not the one I'm thinking of. Yep, those are the tools we're going to use today, I think. Yep, and the ripple... No, where is it? Where did I put it? This is what you get for customizing things and then putting them back for a webinar. There it is. Track select forward tool A. Very useful just to move everything on your track, like by tap from wherever your playhead or wherever you click across. Super useful. Love that tool. That tool can stay. It's great. So what we're going to do now is we're going to import some footage, and then I'm going to open up something where I've already done that. So I'm going to show you how I make my project template, my template for the scratch discs first, and then we're really going to get into our own little project. So I'm just going to take a second to look at the chat, readjust my eyes. Fun fact, should be wearing glasses. Absolutely not. Don't recommend that. That's a really bad practice. Okay, cool. So we're going to show you how to add stuff into here. So first off, I think we need to make some bins. Bins are essentially folders, and that is why they look like folders. But here we call them bins. In the UK, that means trash. So that's nice and confusing sometimes. But, you know, it is what it is. So you can create a bin by here and just tapping new bin. You can also right click and create a new bin that way. Once we have our bin, we're going to name them because having folders called bins, and a lot of them, is very confusing. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to press, oh no, it was already up. We're going to click it. And this one we're going to call, you know what? I like to have numbers. I'll tell you why in a minute. 00 sequences. So I will usually line a few of these up. I will do that quickly for you. So if I'm silent for a second, let me figure it out. Oh, if put a bin within a bin. Bin within a bin. There we go. Let's bring them all down here. Next up would be 01 footage and maybe 02 audio. Oh, nope. Nope, messed it all up. Smart. 02 audio. So The reason I put numbers in front of them is because I like those folders to appear in a very specific way and almost certainly not alphabetical. That can get very confusing. Also, because the folders will always show more on top than the anything else I put in, I want to make sure I can see that and it's easy to organize whatever I put in there. I'm going to stop this now and we're going to make some sequences so I can show you how to do that. There are so many ways to make a sequence. So first up, you can go to this little post-it note. Yep, that's one way to do it. I just usually do this in a different order and click that. And then you'll get an option for sequence, which is just apparently showing on screen. Thank God I can see what's on the screen. There is a bigger menu that happens, but the good news is this is one of the only areas we're going to use the post-it note for. So you can click this and it will make a sequence for you. And well, it will bring up a menu. It should bring up a menu. Ooh, we're having a moment. It's okay. I'm going to check the chat. Oh, no, we're not having a moment. It's just on a different screen. So let me bring this up so we can see what's happening. So the sequence, when you click new sequence, this will come up. This, again, totally understand, can be very, very overwhelming. I get it. We hate not knowing what all this means. So essentially what we're seeing on the right up here as available presets are the many, many, many different codecs we can have. Most people are going to use this digital SLR one and 1080 in your relevant frame rate. I'm going to take a moment here to talk about frame rates. If this goes above your head, don't worry. So I am from the UK and most countries outside the Americas will be using 25 frames a second because their cameras will be on a PAL setting. American cameras are on something called NTSC. Yeah, that is correct. Which has this could get very complex really quick, so we're going to leave it there, I think. But American cameras are a different region and they run on NTSC because of the way broadcast works over there. And most of the other world uses 25 frames a second. So you're going to look and see what is useful to you. Both cameras tend to do 30 frames as well. I will be choosing 25 frames because I think a lot of the footage I tend to work with is 25. I know the footage that I film is 25 frames typically, unless I'm filming in slow motion where they'll have lots more frames. But my sequence will usually be 25 frames. So I'm going to check that. If anyone's curious what my camera, this one we're seeing here, is a Sony a7S Mark III. And I will usually use one of these two codecs up here. And I, these days, will go in and customize these because I use 4K. That is also why down here you see these codecs that say NTSC and PAL, because the cameras will have different standards of... This is just fun and equally confusing. This is all about like sound waves and stuff. Most cameras are on 48, if anyone's curious. Most microphones as well, but you can set that. Yeah, thank you, Don. You are on it. So the other way you can set your sequence within this is you can just click this, change it to 01, a really cool sequence. Oh, full of imagination today. And you can usually just press OK with that. But if you want to customize these more, you just go into your settings and you'll be greeted with this menu. This menu, you can go back and change the settings here if you wanted and go into something else. You can change your frame rate. Maybe you want a very weirdly choppy video. I don't know anyone that uses these. American cameras will be mostly in 23:976 or 24. That is your typical codecs. Europeans, and I believe Asia as well, will probably be on 25. And these, sometimes we film these days in higher frame rates. So again, PAL cameras are the 50 because we tend to double the frame rate on cameras. Americans will be like around the 60s mark. Sorry, we will be moving out of this very soon and it will be much more easy for the edit, but I do need to brush past this. So like the 50s are usually when you're filming high frame rates. A lot of people who do sports or action videos film high frame rates. But today I'm going to go with 25. We're going to double check. For us today, we want a horizontal video, which is a 16:9, which is what you see on YouTube everywhere. I want it just in normal HD. And then all of these look great. I always like to check my sample rate. This is my microphone. I know my microphone performs at 48,000 hertz, so there's that. And then all very good. I don't put in maximum render quality for the same reason, and maximum bit depth, the same reason I don't do anything else, because I just want to be able to, I will export it in high quality, but I don't need to be able to view it in high quality. So then I click OK. And now we have a sequence. And now that we started, I will put that new sequence here. And when I'm making my template, I will put like the basic what it is. I will actually name this something along the lines of whatever it is. And you can now see like you're starting to get more information. You're getting your frame rate. You're seeing how long everything is. Great. You don't need to worry about all this. And then usually what I do is I go to File and Save As. And then I can save this anywhere I want, and it is my new template, so that I can just copy this every time. And then I've only done this once. I don't need to do it again. You can start with putting in like different kinds of sequences that you use a lot, and that can be in every template as well. It doesn't have to be this minimal. It can be anything you want. You can make another 4K sequence. You can make another 720. And then as you edit, you're like, well, I'm not going to use the others, and you can delete them. So then I would be like, a really cool test project, and I'm just going to go to my desktop, make a new folder for ease so I don't ruin everything, and be like, a test template. Create, like, you've got this. Oh, sorry, this is cut off. I didn't realize. Create, and then I'm going to click that folder, and it's going to save all of that in there, and I don't have to make it again, which I love. I just need to copy this every time. If you work off the native one, you're going to have to make a new one. So very cool. And now we have that. Now I'm going to open up what we're going to work on today. If you want to open a project, you can go to Open Project, or Command O or Control O on Windows. That's what I'm trying to remember. But today I have a recent project because I worked on this recently. I had it up to look at today to make sure everything was okay. So I'm just going to open that up. And there it is, my recent project. Close. Look at that. It's called Excellent Webinar. Again, I just need to make myself laugh. This session will be available, by the way, once it is done. So that's really good. So now that we've got everything, I've already kind of gone ahead and put in most of my stuff, but there is more I do need to add things here, I believe. So if you want to import things, again, several different ways to do it. You can right click on your folder you want to import things to and click import. I'm not going to do that today. Or you can go up to File and, oh my God, I've just blanked. Don't know why. No, it's down here. It's down here. And import. And you can also use your shortcut, Command or Control. It is Control I, and import there. So I'm actually going to play with the shortcut today so we can see what happens. I hit Command and I, and it is now loading up my import screen. So that's what you'll get presented with, and then you can click, say, your footage and import the entire folder if you wanted. But I'm not going to do that because there is actually another way that you can also import stuff. So I'm going to open up a Finder window. I did have one. Where is it? I think it's over here. I'm just going to bring it over here because I try to be prepared. So we have a Finder window and we have all our stuff happening here. This is not the project. Oh, I saved something I shouldn't have in this. It happens. So I want to import my sound effects because I don't think they're in here. They are not yet. So I can see that my music's empty as well still. So come on. I've lost my window. I clicked out of it. It was a dumb move on my behalf. My apologies. So if I want to bring this in, all I have to do is hold my sound effects file, SFX, and drag that over to where I want to put it, which is inside my audio file because I like to be organized and know where everything is, and it's going to import it that way. And apparently, oh no. Oh no. We're just going to have a crash moment. This happens so rarely to me, but okay. Go ahead, Premiere, do your worst. And this time I will just answer questions in the chat pod while this happens, I guess. You know what? The last stream went too perfectly, so it's fine. Don't send. Don't send. It's fine. Cool. Great. Thank you. Premiere Pro is now loading up. So until that's happened, we can switch back to me, I think. Oh, it looks a wee bit choppy. Let's have a look at the stream. It says it's in excellent condition. Don't know why it's a tiny bit choppy, but it'll be okay. So how's everyone doing? I realized that was a very intense, like sequences are always an intense thing to learn. You start learning about things like frame rate and codec, and that's very overwhelming to some people. So I hope I tried to break it down. It's okay, it's loading. I have the Premiere screen on a different monitor. I can see it loading. So, I'm just gonna have a look at the chat board and see if I've missed any questions. I just need like, I would say probably about 3 minutes for this to bounce, because I'm streaming as well, which is why I actually preloaded Premiere. And it's all like, hey, you tried to outsmart me. But you were wrong. It's okay. We'll be fine. I'm actually going to have to put on my glasses. I think I'm too tired and I can't see. This is, by the way, I'm not that old, but this is really 30, isn't it? It's like, there you go. I wanted to be pretty on the stream. I wanted to be pretty, but it will do. It is for beginners, so like we're really gonna go proper like 101 now. It's just I like to give an extra little bit of information so people know why they're picking their options. But we're really gonna go in now and just very basically cover everything. I will wind it back. Maybe it's me, maybe I'm a bit too keen this time. That's fine. We're really gonna bring it back. If you're working with different resolutions, I would say like it's easier to downres something and for it to look good than upres. By which I mean is if you have something that's 4K, it will still look amazing in 1080. But if you bring a 1080 to 4K, it's gonna look worse. Fun fact, I'm like Bo Burnham, 100% filmed inside on 6K because I know his camera. Adobe appears closed unexpectedly in a previous session. Would you like to open it? Yes, please. There we go. It's opening now. Like he filmed in 6K, but it's released in 4K, and that 6K gave him the wiggle room to digitally push in and out of shots. So like you like zoom in and out. I'm using technical terms. I feel like this might be a too high. So he allowed to push in and out and still have it 4K. Oh, you know what? At this point, like you gotta laugh because like it is what it is. I can't do anything else, so I just have to wait for it. It's just giving me loads of different buttons. Okay. I don't need to open this. Sorry. Premiere Pro. It's now on the next step of trying to find my project. Fantastic. This is a computer issue more than it is a Premiere Pro issue, I would think. Come on, where are you? Don't worry, it will load. I'll give it a minute and then we'll see what happens. Although I'm actually going to have to force quit it again, aren't I? It just double crashed. You got to laugh. It will come back. There we go. There we go. Right, give it a few minutes and it will be there. So all the clips in the browser, like you're going to be working on your project. You want everything to be in there. If it's not in there, it's not in your project. And if you're working off the media browser, it's probably reading it into your project file. So you're not really going to need that media browser. You're going to want to use your project. That's the way I'd break it down very simply is use the project. don't use anything else, because then it's all in one place. Because the worst thing that can happen is you go back into it and things have moved and you don't know why and you have no file paths. You're going to want to just do that. Okay, I can see Premiere Pro loading. Oh, success, guys. I'm very proud of us. We've done very well. I've got to be honest as well, like, the cool stuff is really coming up now. It's like really gonna come up now. Now we're gonna edit dogs and stuff, but you need base knowledge, you know? You don't read words without learning your ABCs. So it's just jumping. I'm just gonna let it have a moment. It's still loading. I can see it's loading. I've got stuff happening. Thank you, Adobe Care, for breaking it down even further than I could. I love you. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate that in this moment of need. We will be going into Premiere. I promise you it will open. It's just, it had a crash. It's making its files and pathways again. And then I'll open it back up. If this one doesn't open up, I will just open up an older version of Premiere Pro because I have a backup version. I learned very recently you can have 2 copies of Premiere Pro on your computer. So you can have the most recent one and you can have an older one. And thus you can work on old projects without having to update them to the new one, which is very cool. I didn't realize, I thought it sounds really dumb. It's the small things in life. I'm gonna lower this. This is really intensely in my face. It's because I was doing a different thing on a webcam here earlier. So, 2 seconds while I take a sip. UK people, it's Ribena. We love a Ribena. Okay, it's loading. Oh, thank God. I said it was loading. I didn't say it was loading fast. So, how is everyone doing today? By the way, are we all like inspiring? Like, are we trying to be creators? Are we learning for work? Let me know and I'll see what I can do to customize this to your experience. Okay, Barry, a sequence is the timeline, so it's the thing that you're gonna make your edit in. So that's why I had to go into creating a sequence, because without that, you cannot have a timeline. Cool, I can now show people Premiere again. That's really nice. So it's happening. I'm gonna just open up a recent project and we're gonna open up Excellent Webinar again. I'm just gonna move this here for a second. So, are we gonna have a tiny me? Tiny me! You have no idea how proud I was that I managed to put myself in a circle. That sounds really dumb, but it was. So, I think everyone has technical troubles. I mean, the future is like, it's now. Future is now. Okay, load for me. Come on. Come on. I don't know what's happening. I'm gonna back upload the other Premiere Pro in a second, and I will just have to make everything from scratch. So cringe. I'm so sorry this happened, and the patience of you guys. I appreciate that. Let's go back to me while that one. Oh, okay. No, it did it. It did. It figured it out. I'm so proud of you. Let's make this bigger because no one wants to be looking at a quarter of a screen. Ooh. There we go. Lovely. Now, this is my impersonal working space, so if that's confusing, we're not using that today, because that's too much. There we go. I'm just gonna help myself out and go back to closing all those panels we don't really need. I closed a panel I was meant to not close. Didn't I? I totally did. I got trigger happy. That's what happened. It's okay. So we're going to load up window. Where's my project window? Project, an excellent webinar, please. There we go. Brought it back. We're back. This is what your source window looks like when there's not a dog stuck in it. I should have known that something would go wrong when the dog wouldn't go away. Brilliant. Okay. So we're on an excellent webinar. You've been here. You've made your sequence, which is your timeline. See how like I have an excellent sequence here and it's now in the timeline and this is no longer blank. That means we can put our clips into this space, which will be great. If we need to import some footage, I still want to show you how to import something. Let's hope it doesn't go wrong again. I'm going to drag a sound effect in, which is of a dog drinking some water. I'm going to put that into my audio file and it's going to load. I'm going to get rid of this window because we don't need it. And it should be now in theory. Ooh, don't do it again. I will punish you. In theory, it should be in the audio file, and it is. We did it. We are now exactly back to where we are, which is here. The dog pants stuff is here. Fantastic. We did it. I'm so proud of us. You guys held out. You did a great job. So, let's preview some clips now to put into our timeline. So, I'm going to go into my footage folder. Oh, this is... Ooh. Rush is very good. This is a great way to get into it. You can also make a sequence in Rush and export it to Premiere, by the way. Sorry, I was just reading the chat pod while I got this, like, wheel of death. There we go. So let's have a look at our dog drinking water. He's going to be in our source panel. He's going to show up here like a good boy. Good boy. Okay, we did it. So if we wanted to put clips into our timeline, you can just drag this and bring it into your timeline and you'll see you have both the video and audio track. Now, you'll know if your clip has both as indicated by the top and bottom here. The purple is the video clip and the green little waveform is the audio clip. So you can just drag it in to your sequence and have the clips there. You can bring all the clips in if you really wanted to. So I'm going to delete that. I'm actually going to zoom that sequence out a bit. You can zoom out with the minus key. I use the minus key and you can press shift and get all your clips. If you film linearly, I know a lot of people that do this. This is one way to do it. And you can go into this kind of feature here. And you can bring all the clips into a timeline and then go and we can cut and edit them to our heart's content. We're not going to do that today though. That's just one way of doing things. There is many different ways. There is no, well, there is a wrong way to edit, but there is no wrong way to edit, if you know what I mean. So if you want to go through your footage and you're like, ooh, I love that moment where he looks at the camera, like he looks over there and he's like, oh no, danger. In this story, that's what's happening. That's why I chose that clip. You would press the in key, which is I. It is also this bracket over here. And you can scroll to the point you don't want, like you want to finish and you don't want the rest of it outside. So you could be like here and the out key. We don't want either this to be in our sequence and we don't want this to be in our sequence. So we're going to drag it. We just want the video. We don't need the audio. The easiest way to do it is you could drag it here onto the timeline. Now, the other way to put things into the timeline are the comma key and the full stop key. I do need to look every now and again down at my keyboard because I'm a touch editor at this point, I think. What's called. What these keys are these two buttons. So the comma key is insert and that will put it into the clip and push the other side of the clip out wherever your play header is. Now the play header is this blue line here. This is just where you are in your timeline. Whereas the full stop key will overwrite it, and by this it means it will put the clip in and it will basically destroy whatever was underneath, and it is now the main thing in that clip. Let me show you the difference. So if I press the comma key to insert it, you'll see how it's pushed out that clip here and it's inserted a clip into it. It's literally inserted itself into the situation. It's like that person you don't want to talk to, but then they sit between you and your friend. That's what that clip does. It just pushes your friend further away from you, and now you can't finish that conversation. So that is one way to do it. I'm just going to press Control Z. Whereas if you press the full stop key, you'll see it has removed the end of that clip from the play header. So those are the 3 ways that you can put things into the menu here, into your timeline from the source window. Cool. So the other thing, I actually missed something out. I want to talk to you guys. I want to talk to you about these buttons. So some people might find this kind of menu doesn't work for them. They're very visual people. They don't want to read the words. It's totally okay. I understand. So you can press the icon view and then you'll be granted with folders, and you can click that folder and it will open it up and you've got loads of thumbnails now. So you can see the footage that you have there. Now, if this panel is too small for you, when you just want to have a look in a preview, you can press your tilde key. For my Americans, it looks like a giant wiggly line like this, like my mouse is making, like a giant wiggly line. And for my my European folks, it's going to look like a weird S with a circle in the middle, because we don't have uniform keys apparently. So we press the tilde key with whatever panel is selected and highlighted by the blue box. And it's going to make it big. It's just going to make it big. So that if you're having troubles with certain windows, you can just do that and you can have a look at all your icons. You can make these icons bigger if you need to, and you want to be like, if this is your way of seeing that all your footage is in the timeline, in your projects file, that is one way you can do it. So I'm just going to have a look in the comments. Hello, April. I'm also fluent in more than one editing software. So if you have any questions, say coming from Final Cut that you want to translate to Adobe Premiere, I can do that for you today. Don't be afraid. It's not going to be a dirty word in this thing. I used to use exclusively that, and now I use almost exclusively Premiere, but I have to use both because we have clients on both, and I'm very public about that, and Adobe know it, and they're very supportive and lovely of it. So that's always been great. So I can definitely onboard you and help you translate and understand things within Premiere. It's not actually as big a jump as you may think. The shortcut keys are a bit different. So there we go. Hello, Texas. We're just having a look. So the other icon I want to draw your attention to is the freeform view. Because again, maybe you're a very, very visual person and you want to organize your footage visually before you go onto your timeline. Well, oh, what did I do? There we go. Sorry, I scrolled a bit far ahead. So here you can actually run it like a post-it note. So you know when you see people on TV like got post-it notes for their ideas everywhere, or maybe you have like that's how you work on a mood board kind of situation. You could be like, ooh, these are all the shots of the cheetahs, and I can move them here together on top of each other, and that way I know that all of these are one thing, and you can group them that way. And then you could be like, well, these are our secondary characters, so I'm going to move them down here. They're just like going to be shots I cut to for the tension of this good boy. In my story, this is the same dog. It's absolutely not, but in my story, this is the same dog. And you can catalog and group your footage that way. But if you want to do it at the moment in the icon view, I completely get it. And I'm going to click the tilde key and come back out and see the whole software. I'm going to show you how the tilde key works for the timeline. So you can see that it makes the whole timeline really big, but you can no longer preview it with the preview monitor. Equally, if you wanted to do playback on your preview monitor, program monitor, you can do that and just have that full screen and watch something back. So the tilde key, super, super fun. Really useful. Love it. We're now going to make lots of, we're going to make another sequence, because let's have a refresher of how to do that. Again, a sequence is a timeline. I have a reason for this later to show you a really fun trick. So we're just gonna, oh, cool. I did do it right. I'm gonna press Command. No, I'm not. What's the quickest way for me to do this? I'm doing this way. going to do it this way because we didn't do it this way last time. We're going to bring it in here. I want the same kind of menu. It's fine. And it's going to load there. And I'm actually going to call this my select sequence. So maybe you don't want to put it all into your main timeline. Maybe you're making a montage and you just want to have a sequence of your best clips. They don't need to have the story. You just know that all those clips are amazing. A select sequence is super useful just to put all the clips into that. So we'll go through and very quickly, I'm just going to very quickly put some clips into here. Now that I've shown you how to do it, you can drag it. We're going to do it in different ways. And then we can move on with the editing. Where are we in? In point. Just double checking I'm covering everything. Great. I am. Dog walking in slow motion. I want the entire of that clip because it's not very long. We're going to have the mandrill yawning. We're going to in and out this one. Oh, maybe we're not. I'm going to press in here anyway. Go to the play header. I'll assume here is great. Usually you'll get a preview on here. And I'm just going to whack that in. So those are different ways to put clips into your select sequence. Let's do one more of this. Nope. Nope. Oh. Don't do it. Don't crash on me. In, out. And on this one, I'm going to move my playhead with the up arrow, the down arrow key to get to the front of it. And I am just going to click comma. So those are the different ways you can put clips into a sequence. Now, what if you have all your clips that you're like, oh, this doesn't have me picking up the camera now in it. It doesn't have all the shots of me stepping over my words. It's all the best tasty drone footage, whatever you want it to be. You can have that all there. And then if you were like, well, now I can edit it. I have organized it. I've got all the best footage. This way you don't even really need to look at your footage in your project panel. You can now select your other timeline. And this is the cool thing. This is called pancaking timelines. And you can move this if you wanted up and down anywhere. And in this case, I'm going to put it down. And now I have two timelines on the go because you're a super editor already. And if you liked a shot up here, you can just drag it into a timeline over here. That's not the shot I wanted. I wanted the slow motion dog. I want to keep, you always, usually if you've made your sequence in specific settings, you want to keep those settings. So keep existing settings. But I don't want that clip. I messed up. Because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to learn how to speed ramp. Love a speed ramp. Give me a second while I do this. So yeah, that is one way you can work with two timelines. This is something I kind of just shoehorn in because I love it so much. But it's not important. It's just another way to work. I know a lot of people that work this way when they're trying to put in a montage of loads of clips from a good day to music, and they have all the clips then that they like here as opposed to having to hunt for them in the project window. So that's very good. How are you all doing? How are we doing? Are we happy, shiny, happy people? Okay. Great. So I'm going to close my select sequence because we don't need it for the moment. And I want to give you guys as much room as possible. In fact, I'll move my face if I have to over here. Oh no, there's two of me. That's the worst. No one needs that. So just give me a second while my Premiere has a moment. I'm just going to check the chat pod. Hey Kevin, on mine it is definitely a tilde key. Yeah, I don't have a accent grabber key on this keyboard in my little European QWERTY keyboard. Okay, brilliant. Thank you for... There we go. So I'm going to zoom in to this because we're going to do some speed ramping today. I think that's where we are. Yeah, we're going to do some speed ramping. And then we'll move on to color, then audio, and then how to reshape everything for social media if you need to. Okay, I think we're doing good for time. I just wanted to check. So let's speed ramp. Speed ramping is where you might see something go really slow and then really fast, or vice versa, really fast and really slow, which is what we're going to do today. I'm going to zoom in on my timeline, so make sure the timeline is selected here. And I'm going to press the plus or equals key, plus, 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 so that it's taking up enough room. Too much room, went too big. So we've done that. Yeah, it's all the funky US keys, UK keys, sorry about that, like, British. Okay, so we're going to do some very cool time remapping. Something that's going to help you do this easier is we're going to make this little video. Which way am I pointing? That's at me. Why can't I figure this out? We're going to make that timeline over there. Yeah, there we go. I figured it out at the end. Wow. It's late. It's for 9 p.m. on a Friday. It's a long week. And we're going to make that wider. And the way we do that is we're going to press Command and Control and that plus key. And that is going to make that big. Can you see it getting bigger? Yes, you can. Lovely. Another way to zoom in and out of your timeline is this icon here, which you can also scroll along with. And if you pull it, it's going to make it smaller. And if you go, oh, that's too big, that's too big, it's too big, it's sensitive, it's okay. So that is another way. Oh, there we go. That'll be perfect. Ooh. Next, we're going to right click. And you're not going to see what you need to see, apparently. Let me make Premiere a bit smaller for you guys so you can see the full menu. We will go back to being big in a second, don't worry. Don't panic. Just me. I'm going to right click and it's still going to cut it off. Oh my god. Okay, not our day. We're just going to make this big and I'm going to tell you what it is. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Brilliant. So we're going to right click. I can't even see it because my other screen is blocking the way. And we're going to go down to show clip keyframes. It is literally on the bottom of that menu. I wish I could get that to appear on the screen, but it's not. I wonder if I could zoom into it. Let's try that. Is that working? Maybe not. Show clip keyframes. It's literally on the bottom of my screen, so it's not doing a good job. Time remapping, and then you're going to click speed. So if you right click and go to the bottom, it's show clip keyframes, time remapping, and speed. And when you do that, you're going to get this white line show up and all of this show up. So that would be great. I'm just going to get my menu back up. So now we're going to click P for the pen tool because I think that's the one I want to select, and I'm gonna just click on my play header and see where I want this dot. I probably want it to be only slow for like a second so we can actually see what's happening, and then I'm gonna click on this line in the middle, and what that's gonna do is it's gonna make one of these little markers for me. So now when I go back to my arrow, which is the V key, I can now pull this up and it's gonna speed everything up, or I can pull it down and speed it down. Now, the reason I'm not going to pull it down is because I haven't shot this for slow motion. It would be very choppy and kind of gross. So we're going to go up as far as I can. I want it to be super, super fast, about there. And then you're going to see the clip get smaller. And that means it's now this part of the clip is now much faster. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to bring that up more. I'm going to make that even faster. It needs to be no more than a second, really. There we go. Now I'm going to zoom in, pressing that plus key. And then I'm going to click on the bullet marker. And if you pull it, you're going to see it. You can ease that in. What that means is it's not going to go straight from slow fast, it's gonna go slow, or it's gonna go really fast and then ease it down and slow. And you can change that into more of an S curve if you wanted, using this little blue arrow thing, if it behaves. Story of my life today. Wow. Come on, you can do it. I believe in you. Someone has to, because they're losing their patience. No, okay, I guess we're just not going to show you how that works. I think it did it. Did it not move? No. Okay. Oh, no, now it's just being weird. So we're not going to bother. So what it's done now is it will have slowed it down. Shall we see if we can play that? Let's give it a go. So it's going to be really fast and then slow. Oh, thank you. Oh, it's looping. Oh, I've switched the loop on somewhere. There we go. Let's see if I can help things out here. Okay, and again. There we go, yeah, perfect. And again, really fast and then slow. And it eases in that slow, which is much nicer than going from really slow or really fast to really slow. If you ease it in, it looks more like, that's what I always picture with that kind of sound. It's like, you know, the drony sounds you hear when things slow down on TV and stuff. That's what I think about. And that's how simple speed ramping is. Now, I could even bring this smaller. I could bring this higher up, and I could click on these little two blue icons and make them wider. I can make that ramp a lot slower if I wanted to, but then it's not got much clip left, so we're not going to do that. There we go. Because this, you'll notice that this also, like, it's speeding up the bit in the middle as well, which is why the length of the clip changes. And this is just something that's really cool and fun to do on your footage. And then in theory, you should be able to, there we go. There we go. You grab that blue little node and then you can ease that in even further. So it's going to go like, it's going to go from fast to really slow and ease that in. And let's see how that looks. If it wants to show me. Okay, let's just walk across it and then, ooh, see how it eases that? Oh, that's much nicer. Love that. That's the best way to do it, instead of cutting up your clips and changing the duration of each clip. Now, if you have some like faster clips like we do here in different frame rates, and you want to make sure that they're all the same as your frame rates, you can just select that clip, right click it. There's just lots of K sounds. Right click it, and then you go to modify and interpret footage. And then here, where you say assume this frame rate, you can change that to the frame rate you're on. Now, if it's a high frame rate and you're changing it to a lower one, it's going to slow the clip down. And if it's a low frame rate and you're bringing it up, it's going to speed the clip up. It's not going to keep the clip the same. So, and that's one way of also changing the duration of your footage. So there we go. I think now we're ready for a session in the color workspace. Am I right? So we're going to move over at the top here, and you're going to start seeing a different workspace. We'll go to color. Now, don't get overwhelmed. If yours looks a little different from mine as well, don't worry about it. Or if you want to see what I'm seeing, you can go up to window and add on the various things. I will go through them. The first thing you're going to notice that's different here is there are now scopes that look hugely intimidating, and I'm going to walk you through them, but for the most part today, you can ignore them. And then I'm going to get up. Ooh, I love that clip there because it's good to color correct because it's a little too green. So I'm just going to get my source window up so I can get a little clip, this clip in my timeline for you. It used to be there, but it's not anymore. Since it's shut down. Where do we want him from? We'll just get a couple of seconds here. In, out, and I only need the visuals. And we'll go from here. So we're going to change the color of this guy, or at least we're going to correct him so it looks like more realistic, vloggy kind of footage that you would be using in your day-to-day. We're just going to He's actually a little bit green, but that's fine. He's also in a very green space, so it makes complete sense. So let's go across our Lumetri scopes. But before that, actually, I'm gonna really break down some terms for you. Like really, like let's break this down. So there's basic color theory, and there are some terms that you're really gonna need to use. The main ones you might even recognize if you use Lightroom or something, or maybe you've seen the settings on your camera. I'm now gonna make it easier for you to know what these meant. You probably kind of just went, I'll figure it out. And you probably will. You guys are very smart. You're here to learn. So you're quite engaged people. So hue is simply just another word for color. Why we don't use color, I'll never know. But hue just means color. The next one is saturation. And this is the intensity of that color. It's how blue it is, how not blue it is. And then the last one is, it's got 3 names just to make it way more confusing. It's either luma, luminescence, and brightness. These 3 terms are the exact same thing. They mean the light within a color. And this is what will get it from like really white to really dark. If you'll find that if there's a lot of light in the color, it might appear brighter. And if there's not as much light in it, it's going to appear blacker. Whereas when the differences with saturation, that's where you're going to go from really pale, like it's actually a pale blue, to a really navy blue. And that could be affected with that is almost, if like saturation and luminescence, brightness, whatever you want to call it. I think for today we'll stick with brightness. It's a nice, non-intimidating term. They work well like together a lot of the time to make those colors. So that's one of the main bits of color theory you're learning already today. A suggestion I will have for you as well is get very familiar with a color wheel, because this will help you be able to really create a style or a look that you might want. But we're not really going to dip too hard into that today. I think in the first session, if you want to watch it back, I go into like deep color theory because this is a passion of mine. I love color. I love color palettes. I watch films and I'm like, oh, I get it. I like the moods it portrays. It's very fun. So today, with the next basic thing I'm going to tell you is the difference between color correction and color grading. So color correction is typically making the footage back to being correct. So sometimes we shoot in an area where a light's made everything look really yellow because our camera settings aren't set to that light. Or maybe it's really blue. Those are the 2 typical kind of ends of when something's not shot correctly. When we're correcting, we're trying to bring those back. Maybe it's too faded. Or maybe there's only so much you can do when it's too contrasty, by which I mean it's like really white and black. You can really see the differences in that. Color correction kind of fixes that problem. A color grade is where I would say you can tell a story and give emotion using color. So like the grading on the matrix is one of the most common ones I go to, which is, it's a monochromatic color, by the way. Not that that matters, but everything is all green. And the reason they went with green is typically green is associated with horror and can make people sick, but it's also highly associated with code. So it was a perfect grade to do on the Matrix. The most common one I think of recently is Handmaid's Tale, which uses it's called discordant. It's where 2 colors are on the certain place on the color wheel. That's a bit too far, we won't go into it, but like you have the blues and reds and everything else is desaturated, and that's to tell the story between the handmaidens and the wives. The other one is, I think, is it Shawshank Redemption? And it actually desaturates because you want that. It's not a very it's sad. It's like there's a lot. It's a heavy film. There's a lot going on. So you'll see more often a lot of things are desaturated when it's on a sadder, colder story. Things like that. So the grade can really tell a story. The most common grade you'll see is a complementary grade, and that means 2 colors on opposite ends of the color wheel. The one I'm gonna just say out the gate is teal and orange. You'll recognize it on films from Drive to the kids' film Polar Express. So there is that. So there we go. That is some basic color theory, and that will help us understand as well our scopes, which we are moving into over here. So I have 3 scopes up. These are the ones that I pay attention to. They do 3 different things. So first off, we've got our lunar waveforms. That of course means light waveforms. This has nothing to do with color. The bits in the graph here, this all like this business, is that called a trace. So typically when you scan through your footage, ooh, okay, Wheel of Death. Let's do this again. Trial and error. Yeah, as you scan through your footage, anyone else's hay fever in the UK, by the way, just insane in the evenings at the moment. You'll see how it moves along the trace above me. So it relates to the thing in the image. So we know that this is the cheetah's head and this is the grass and this is how the light is hitting it. So that is the light waveform. The main thing you want to take into consideration with the numbers is you can ignore these as a beginner. It's going to make no sense to a lot of people because this is a bit right. Just ignore the numbers on the right hand side. You don't need them. It's a beginner class. The ones that are useful are the ones on the left hand side. You've got 0 and 100. 0 is all the dark colours, like this is his nose and mouth and all the blacks. And we do not, under any circumstance, want to go under 0. And then you have 100, and that is white. That is, if it goes above that, you have lost. If you go above 100 and below 0, you've lost information in your clip. You're no longer going to get good color out of it. So that's why that is useful. Most of the clip will usually sit between, I guess, 20 and 80. That is not black and white, typically. Then we have our RGB parade, which is almost the same as the lunar waveform, except for it's looking at 3 colors and not light. Oh, how do we get those same 3 things? Of course, because like I've accidentally saved this format because it's what I like. So if you right click, you get 3 of these options. You get all these options for different things here. The vector scope, the YUV1, is this circle up here. Sorry, that was really gross if you heard me like go, ugh. This is the vector scope over here. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. The waveform, the Luma waveform, that is the white graph over here. And what I'm currently talking about is the parade RGB. And I just click those on and I click off the other 2 because I don't need the other 2. I don't like the other 2. This is what I like looking at. And then you can ignore all these things. There's also these presets here so you can see. This is another way to get to them as well. So we have the RGB waveform. I hope that helps, by the way. Red is red. Great. That's usually the warmer tones we'll see because like a lot of color is made from these 3 colors. Green is green. Useful again. We love it when it's simple. And blue is blue. The main difference here is, yes, if you hit 100 and if you hit 0, there is a loss of information of that color, but this is not so much the brightness or darkness of one, it's the amount of color in that color. It's the saturation of that color. So we don't want it to be too intense on either end, but that is where it is. But it doesn't, these are all different colors as well within that. So there we go. I'm going to keep this as basic as I can, so I'm trying not to go too deep. Because again, can be intimidating. The last one I love having up is the vector scope. And here you will see all your usual colors are on it, because this is actually based on the color wheel. You've got red, magenta, blue, cyan, green, and yellow. And then you've got these arrows here. Now, usually when I'm looking at people, I try to get most skin tones will land along this arrow. Some will be more red and some will be more yellow, but generally the skin color, the tone will be in that, both in lighter and darker skin tones, because that isn't necessarily, again, looking at that, it's looking at the color within it. Like your undertones, when someone goes to a makeup counter, oh, you probably don't, kid goes up to a makeup counter, it's like, oh, your undertone is blue. It's kind of that way. So, but here we can see that we have our cheetah. He's a big yellow blob, and this is the grass here, pretty much. And then this bluish kind of color is going to be the dark tones. And that is our scopes. Now, let's go into something a lot easier. Honestly, the only thing we're really gonna focus on today is correcting our color. And for that reason, we're gonna look at the basic correction. So we'll come to LUTs later at the end because you can do fun things with that and I'll explain what a LUT is. But let's start with correcting this because this is actually a bit green. This pipette here, called WB selector, that stands for white balance. So we can click on that little pipette and it's going to create a pipette for us and we can put it on a white area. I know this is quite yellow. I'm going to go down here where it looks like they originally corrected to. And that's actually introduced a lot more blue tones to the image. How do I know it's blue? Because my temperature slider has moved. I actually think that's a little bit too blue, so I'm going to work it back slightly, but I do like that it has changed. So that's already changed the image a little bit. And then we could go in and add either more magenta or green to tint the image. I actually would like to bring in a warmer magenta so that the oranges in his fur just look more vibrant and warm as opposed to cold, because when I moved the blue, it kind of made it a bit colder. These four colours here, the blue, the orange, the red and green, work in harmony together. So you can usually, by moving these, manipulate the image enough to correct an image. Let's see what we've done already with just tinting it. He was very green. Oh, he's actually maybe a tiny bit too pink. Maybe I went a bit hard on that. I'm going to look at my scopes. Usually we want these to be relatively even, but I don't think that's going to happen today. Mostly because there's not a lot of blue present in this image. And I think that actually looks a lot better. I can see that the white on his fur is a lot cleaner. The orange looks a lot warmer. It's actually put a little less orange and yellow into that grass, so it looks a lot warmer. I like that. Yeah. I like that a lot. So we're going to move on and talk about what the tone of the image is. And honestly, this is a lot simpler than it sounds. We'll start at the bottom and we're going to work our way up. Sorry, hay fever. So at the bottom we have blacks and whites. This affects the 0 to 20 mark here of the blacks and whites. So the blacks will affect this bottom part of the graph and the whites will affect this part of the graph, like the 80 to 100 portion. And what we want to do is try and increase that dynamic range, which is the top and bottom of this image. So the blacks are already kind of quite low. I could bring them a little lower to there is quite good. And then the whites I think are what are going to be the most dramatic. So I can really bring that up if I wanted. And I'm not going to go to the 100 line. I'm just gonna go near it so it looks like a much brighter daylight if I wanted to. Now the shadows affect from 20 to 50 and the highlights affect from 50 to 80. Let me know if I'm going a bit too fast. I am just trying to break it down and also keep within time because we're already an hour and a half in and we still have to do audio. So the shadow, as you see, if I manipulate the shadows up, this image will get a lot more faded. And if I bring them down, it's going to get very contrasty. If you double click these nodes, by the way, it resets them back to 0. So I'm gonna bring it down a little bit, I think. I like a contrasty image, but I don't want to go too far. And then the highlights, you know what? I think I will bring them just a smidge down because I brought up those whites quite high. And then that way that green is going to sit on the middle line. Now contrast, you can either make your image look very contrasted, the whites are very white and the blacks are very black, or you can make it super faded and what it's going to do is it's going to narrow down that dynamic range. Anyone else thinking of Friends when I did that? I don't blame you. So for me, I'm going to bring that back to normal where it was, and I think I've already done the work down here for this to look good. I don't think I need to change this at all, so I'm not going to. And then lastly, if your image is still too bright or too dark, you can change the exposure. So you can bring this up, and what the exposure does is it puts a lot more light in the image, or it makes it a lot more dark. It changes the brightness and luma of the image. So we're going to reset that because I think it's a pretty well done video. There we go. Go into that, please. Thank you. The last thing we have in this correction panel is saturation. And that is going to either make it really intensely colourful or really desaturated and no colours whatsoever. I'm going to, what am I going to do? I like to give maybe a little bit more colour because I feel like colour brings life to an image. I like to always up the saturation a little bit just to make people, like, I love it when skin tones look colourful because when they look desaturated they look a bit sick or sad. And I don't like that. And that is the colour panel. How quick was that we went through that? We had a whole look on that. And like, let's see the before and after. Before, and you can see how everything shrunk here. So it wasn't as like dynamic. And then after, look at that. Now I will say this line here on the vector scope I didn't talk about. This is because it's called a broadcast save zone, and typically anything outside of that line might lose information. We're not going to worry about it too much today because broadcast safety standards are a big topic. But I think that just looks way better. Before, after. He looks so colourful and vibrant. Maybe a bit too bright. I could probably very slightly bring that down if I wanted, but it's only because it's harsh sunlight. And I'm very proud of us. So now the next step we're going to do is we're going to move on to audio. Let me just check how everyone is doing. We will get on to export settings in a bit. That's the last thing we cover. So next is audio. We're gonna order. Oh my god! It's because I'm thinking of food. We ordered Chinese food, and it was meant to arrive before I did this, and it arrived as I started, an hour late. So I'm thinking about food. So we get an entirely different menu now that we're in the audio space. This is really overwhelming and complicated and horrible. So I'm gonna really break this down for you in what you can focus on. The main thing, I'm just going to get, you know what, I need to get an audio clip in. I usually have an audio thing ready to go. Where's my project file? Nope, I got rid of my project file. Fantastic, so smart. What a great woman. If you lose something, you can literally go into here and add it back. It happens to all of us. We forget things. So there we go. It's going to come back. Lovely. And I'm going to get some audio. I have the baboon shouting, "Watch out, they're gonna eat you." In fact, I need to turn on the audio settings now on my desktop. I'm just gonna click I from where I would want to start that audio on this panel. And I know where that, oh, come on. I believe in you. You can do this. Go on. And O is where I'm gonna take this clip. I don't need the back end of this clip. And then I'm going to play this through for you now. In my eyes, this audio, which is cringe, I'm just not going to lie. Watch out, they're gonna eat you! Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's what I did. I'm going to grab this audio and I'm going to put it into my timeline. So I'm zoomed out a little bit for this. So that is dialogue here that we have. I also have a song that we will go into in a moment. So if I wanted to edit my dialogue to be louder, I could click dialogue, and then it will bring up everything here to know what that dialogue is. Or how to edit. Sorry, that was not a very good explanation at all. What it will bring up is the essential sound panel for how you can edit your dialogue and all the relevant things. If I later when I look at music, you'll notice that we'll have completely different settings because it's gone, you don't need those, but this is really useful for you right now. So with this, we can change how loud the clip is, and we can match it to other sounds if it is in there. We can repair the clip, so we can try and reduce some noise or a rumble or dehum or de-ess or reverb, reduce reverb. Reverb is always one that people don't understand. It's the resonance. Like, you know, when you're in a room and you can kind of hear your voice somewhat bouncing off the walls? It's that. Dehum is usually when there is a frequency of an electronic or something in the room and you can hear it. In the UK and European area, it's going to be about 50. If you're in the US, it's going to be 60. So you can, that's the difference of clicking on and off those two things. So depending on where you are, you're probably going to use one more than the other. You can change the dynamics of it, in which case it's like stretching the clip to make it louder. Like, I'll show you it actually. So you can click this and it's gonna, ooh, you know what? I should zoom into this clip so you can see what's happening. I'm gonna press Option and plus 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 plus, and it's gonna do the exact same thing we did with our video when we tried to slow things down. So you can either have the dynamics more natural and it will sound like this. Watch out, they're gonna eat you. Watch Great. Oh, please stop. Watch out, they're gonna eat you. No, there we go. Oh, please stop. Oh my god, that it's already cringe enough. I don't need to relive it 5 times every time. And then we're gonna press play again. Watch out, they're gonna eat you. Watch out, they're gonna eat you. There you go. They're gonna eat. So what it's done is it's pulled that sound so it's got more range in it and it sounds louder and it's upped the gain of it as well. I'm just gonna get rid of that though today because we're not gonna do that. Oh no, we are. We're just not. I make dynamics. I'm not going to do that. What I want to show you is the equalizer tool, because this is what you'll find useful. You'll find presets here for different vocals and dialogue here, and also at the top. So, and they're named very wonderful, unique things as well. My personal favorite is actually on this menu, which is called Locked in a Trunk. So they have made custom presets so that you don't need to learn different things. So, like, for example, if you click Locked in a Trunk, it is what it is. It sounds like you're stuck in a trunk, which I love that someone came up with that. It was like, that's the name of that. I'd say the most obvious one, and what's the one I'm thinking of? The one that people will use most will be a mix of a subtle boost of a male voice or a female voice or a podcast voice. For me, I would love this to be a background voice because in my theory, he's shouting this really far away. Watch out, they're gonna eat you. And what that does... Not again. Watch out, they're gonna... Oh my goodness. And what that does is it's actually going to make it sound a lot quieter. The other options you have here are enhancing your speech further, which is also great. I think, again, one of the most popular ones would be podcast voice. A lot of people edit their podcasts in video software these days because they have video podcasts. Watch out, they're gonna eat you! And usually what this does is it boosts the low end of the speech. But again, we're getting very technical and I'm trying to avoid that. And you can enhance speech and it will sound different again. Watch out, they're gonna eat you! It just sounds a little bit cleaner. So it tries to get rid of those EQ. What it is doing is it's trying to get rid of those frequencies that can make your audio not sound as good, and it's also going to try and boost it or maybe add some bass to the sound, especially on the male voices. And that's quite good. And then the last thing is at the bottom is we can change, well, the last two things, the level of it. So you can click clip level and you can make it very loud. In this case, it's going to sound very loud. Watch out, they're gonna eat! Because it's peaking. By peaking, we never want to have our clip on 0 or in the red. It's too loud, it's going to come out disgusting, and you're going to get people, when they watch your content, they're going to have something called audio fatigue. Because it's just too much and it's loud and it's uncomfortable. It's like when you put in your earpods and watch a YouTube video and it's just too loud. There's that. And that's even when YouTube actually reduces the volume of videos by minus 14 decibels. So you'll usually just play with this a little bit. And then if you bring this down on the other end, it's going to make your clip a lot quieter. We're here again. There we go. No. Oh, my computer's playing a practical joke on me. And then lastly, you have the mute button, and what that does is it will turn the clip audio off. You can't hear it. It's silenced. The other thing I want to point out on the audio track is you'll see there are some different buttons on the audio tracks than the video tracks. The M button means mute, so it will also just mute the clip. It will mute the entire, but it won't mute just the clip like this will, sorry. This mutes just the clip. This will mute the entire track. If we turn that off, oh, come on, where did you go? The S button means solo, which means it will mute everything else except for the audio on that track. These are called tracks, by the way, if I didn't say that earlier today. So that is some audio things. I'm just going to put a clip in. If you give me a second, I want to get that majestic slow motion dog back. I don't want the audio of it, so 2 seconds. If you press option, you can, if a video and audio are linked, you can click on the individual options and manipulate them. So I'm going to put my playhead here, and I'm just going to zoom out because there we go. So we can see what we're doing. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to browse, and we're going to have a look at the Adobe stock integration, because there are already, there's a lot of music built into Adobe stock right now. More than you think, because this is my favorite feature, by the way. It's made my life so easy. They've now added partners, and they will continue to be adding partners, which is great. And they have Epidemic Sound on there. So I get my music from Epidemic Sound. Actually, I'm an ambassador for them. I have on my Instagram bio and Twitter bios. If you click the links, you can get a month for free. Just plug. Gotta make coins somehow. It's tough out here. So you can now go in and search music, and you can also search music by mood, like angry, dramatic, dreamy, emotional, happy, groovy, lots and lots and lots of options here, and genre. So maybe you prefer acoustic guitar, or maybe you want a pop song soundy thing, or maybe you love hip hop and rap. All different options here, lots and lots of going on. You can also, this is where it gets a bit more complex. If you understand tempo and music, some of us don't have rhythm, frankly, and I'm insulted. I don't have rhythm, it's me. You can go by tempo, or if you have a clip that's 15 seconds long, you can just choose you can just bring this down and choose a clip that long. I, however, have already got a song in mind, and I wrote it down, and it is called, oh, the irony of this name, Struggling Minds. And I'm going to search that, and it's going to come up with 2 different songs called Struggling Minds. I'm pretty sure mine is the first one. I'm going to put Timeline Sync on, and it's going to play the track with as if it's already on my timeline. So I just wanted a little epic track for this guy running. I love him. I just want the best for him, you know. So if I like that song a lot, I can literally just click it and drag it onto my timeline. Now you'll notice me dragging it onto a different track. When I'm organizing within my edit, I like to have my first track be dialogue. Sometimes my second track will be sound effects. In this case, it is music. And that means when I want to manipulate the tracks, I can and just switch, say, all the music off. I can. I'm just going to zoom out right now because there's a lot going on here, and I am going to click my cut tool, which is C, and click from about here because I can tell on the waveforms this will be really good. And then I'm going to click my arrow tool, which is A, and I'm going to delete the rest of it. And then I'm just going to drag this to here. And let's play and see if that sounds better. Oops. What a good boy! Such a good boy. What I notice is we need to tweak this music though. It is very loud. Also, by the way, when you bring the music into the timeline, it does create a folder for you here where you can go and license it appropriately. And the version of the music you get in here is a lower quality version than the full res, but when you say, hey, I can use this, I've licensed it, it replaces it automatically with the higher quality version. Oh, no, whoops. I zoomed in on the wrong panel. I now want to zoom in here, and I'm just gonna make this shorter. I'm just going to do something for me. You don't have to, guys, don't have to worry about this. It's a bit too close to that dialogue and I don't like it. So, don't like that dialogue. Gonna mute it even. Hate that. Hate hearing my voice over and over. So now we want to edit our audio for our good boy. Oh, it's linked it. That's great. I've done something stupid. No, hang on. There we go. So we'll click the music track now. And we will then click edit and we will tag this as music and we get a completely different menu. So usually a lot of people use music within their vlogs and stuff as background music. So we will go up to a preset here at the top. Oh, give it a second. And we will say balanced background music. What this will do is it will automatically bring the volume right down so that if you have audio at the top, you would usually be able to hear the audio as well. Now, if that is still too loud, you can go down to the clip volume and turn it down again. But what if you have dialogue there? We will have dialogue here. I'm just going to move it back. I'm just going to move the dialogue in here. So what if you have dialogue and you want the music to go quieter when the dialogue is there? They've already thought about this. So you go up to preset and you can say either duck against everything. That means if there's sound effects and all sorts of other dialogue, it will automatically duck it. Or if we switch it back to default, we can click ducking over here and say only duck against audio. We can change these settings here if we wanted to, but I'm not going to, just to show you what happens. And then we're going to click generate keyframes. And then it should have done it. It has not done it. Hang on a second. What's going on? Generate keyframes. And you know what? We're going to keep this as balanced background music so that it's not too loud because I'm really worried about it hurting your ears. And then generate keyframes. It seems to have done it, so let's play it back. You know why that is? It's because I have not tagged my audio here. Oh, I have tagged it as dialogue. Oh, maybe it's because I've left it quiet. That's probably why. Sorry. Let me just go in. We all make mistakes. Tag duck against dialogue. That's what it should do. Generate keyframes. There we go. It's done it now. So you can see that it has now generated the keyframes down here, where it's automatically brought the volume a lot lower and brought it up. Let's listen to that. Watch out, they're gonna eat you! And you can finesse these and you can make them like go longer here if you wanted to. Oh, too long. Too long. We don't want that. That would sound terrible. We could have that come right in here. We can bring the audio louder. We can bring this part louder if we wanted to. You can really fiddle with it to get what you need to out of it. Watch out, they're gonna eat you! Brilliant. And that is our audio section done. I am just... we have one more thing to do. For ease on showing you the next thing, because I'm going to show you how we can, what if you have like a sequence, pretend by the way that this select sequence, let's pretend that this is like the perfect video, it's already edited, and you love it. But what if you don't want it as a horizontal YouTube-like video? What if you want it as a vertical video for like maybe your Instagram stories or TikTok or whatever? What you do is I'm going to create an out point on my timeline here. And then you go up to sequence. It's definitely in sequence. And then you're going to click auto reframe sequence. What this is going to do is bring up this menu. Auto reframe will make an entirely new sequence, so it's not going to affect all the hard work you have already done. And you can go up to, you can call this whatever you like. 9:16 is the ratio for vertical video, which you're also told about below. Sorry, I'm just going to have... So, yep, and then you all of these are fine. You don't need to nest clips. Don't worry about it. Nesting is what a compound clip is in other editing softwares. And then you're going to click create, and it's going to try and motion track as well. Faces of both animals and everything, and crop it to the right ratio. It's already done it. It was that fast. It's done it already. It's an entirely different timeline, and we could go in and have a look at it. So dog looks handsome, great, what a good boy, he's got fly on his back. This one running, perfect, exactly where he needs to be as well in shot. The next up is, I think it's the monkey. It'll come, he'll show us in a second, and then we have cheetahs. Let's see if I can render this, if that will speed things up. No? Nope. Didn't think it would. Yeah, and that we're actually still in our audio as well workspace to do this. You don't really want to do this in an audio workspace. You want to go back to your editing workspace usually. So let's see if that's there in our editing workspace. The reason for that, I'll tell you in a minute. There he is. Oh, what a handsome boy. Is if you find that this is not exactly where you need it to be, you need to go up to your effects controls and then just adjust the position here by the left and right, which I don't think it's going to do. No, I think it's frozen a little bit on this clip. Or top and bottom. No. And if you don't like that, you can reset it. So that is basically auto reframe in a nutshell. If you wanted to do it as a square, same thing. You go up to sequence, down to auto reframe sequence, and you can toggle this for different ratios. Now, vertical 4:5 is a vertical Instagram post, not video. Square is 1:1. We could do 4:5. And we usually would want to rename this, not to have two settings on it. It's doing it, and it's done it again. Perfectly. Dog. Let's have a look at this dog. Oh, that's why. Oh, no. No. It's not loading. We're having a moment. It's having a moment. Let's have a look at our cheetahs when it does it. And it's going to reframe it so that all the faces are in the right places. Now, again, it's not 100% perfect. For example, in this shot, it's really decided to focus on this side of the screen. I would actually like to have more room for all the cheetahs. But what it's done is it's seen these two faces and said, we will put those in like the right place. So otherwise, done a fabulous job. It's still analyzing, that's why it's taking a second down here. Me trying to be impatient, like, we've done it now. So that is auto reframe. The last thing you might need to know is if you want to export your content, and that's fine. You go File, Export, and Media. You can also press Command M or Control M if you're on a Windows. Before I show you the export settings, I just want to tell you something. If you have a little star up here, this means your project hasn't saved. So if you want to save your project, you could go to File and Command and S or Control and S, or you can just hit or you just hit save here. So let's go to our export settings, because I don't need to save this because I want it back to how it was for when I start the next one. Give it a second. Where's that menu going to pop up? What screen? Da, 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 da. We're near the end now. So everyone that stayed here, you've done well. We've spent 2 hours here. This is me trying to be quicker. I shaved 40 minutes off. Usually I could go a lot more in depth. I will leave you on a little tip as well before we leave that I tell everyone on how to close all the black. Some people are like, oh, I've got loads of gaps in my edit. In fact, let's do that now. Oh, my stream is going down. Let's get rid of my face. To help with that, we'll get rid of my face. We did so well. We literally got to 10 p.m. before my stream went weird. So if we go over here, let's do our export settings before we do the close gap thing. So you go File, Export, and Media. And what that should do is bring up an export menu. Try again. Maybe it's because I've not got the timeline selected, but I don't think that would be export media. Oh, well, it's thinking about it. There we go. So if we wanted to export that, the best thing I could recommend is you match your sequence settings and it will do all the work for you. The other way to do it, and this is the one I actually recommend, when this stopwatch has stopped, is you choose H.264. That is a codec that will work across everything, but you can also select many others here. And then you can say match source. Now, the nice thing about what Adobe have done is they've broken it down to different social medias as well. So if it's for Facebook or YouTube and Twitter, you can just click these. So YouTube Full HD, and it will do it for you. Unless it's trying to... No, you don't want it on YouTube though, because we did a vertical video. So let's go back to match source. High bit rate means it's just going to put as much colors in there as possible without it looking bad. Yep. You're going to want to use maximum render quality, and you have two options. If you click export, it's going to all export within Premiere Pro. Or if you want to keep using Premiere Pro, press Q, and it's going to open up Media Compressor, which is an extra step we're not going into today. So if you just wanted to do that, you just click export. I'm not going to do that because I don't need a bunch of leopards on my desktop, if I'm honest. But that is today's lesson. Why is my stream really weird? So I'm going to close down Premiere Pro to see if that helps. Because I realize the stream's gone a bit weird. Maybe it's my computer. I don't know. But thank you for coming today. You guys have been wonderful, so lovely, very interactive, so supportive. Put up with my frankly terrible jokes. So thank you so much for being here. And if you have any questions, you can find me at Mandy Celine on Instagram or Twitter, and I will try and reply back. And that is it. We've done it. I realize the stream is not in the best quality right now, but you know what? It literally is when my stream ended, which I am thrilled about. That could have gone so much worse. Oh, I forgot about the blank spaces. Let me load up Premiere Pro again. So if you go up to sequence and close gaps and marquee box your selection, you can get rid of all the black spaces. I completely forgot because I got distracted by the stream being bad. What's annoying is it looks great on my computer. It's just YouTube. It's telling me it's not amazing. But there is really nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. It is loading Premiere Pro. If we want to stay and get that closed gaps tip, I will totally give that to you. I just can't guarantee the quality of the stream, unfortunately. Open widget. Show me. Nope. It's not giving me any suggestions. It's just like, your stream's not great right now. Helpful. Thank you so much. That sucks. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to show you the closed gaps thing. But if you marquee box, by which I mean just like drag over and select your clips, go up to sequence and close gaps, you can close all the gaps in your video. Love that. Love that for us. Love a tip that makes things a lot better. I'm sorry that I'm having to literally just tell you about it, then show you, because I closed Premiere Pro hoping the stream would get better. Oh, well. But thank you for being with me here on a Friday night. I think I'm going to end it here, unfortunately. I would love to give you more tips. If you want to know more about that closed gaps feature, it is in my previous stream. You can go check that out on the Adobe Care channel. And I'm going to leave you now because it's awkward, because clearly I'm lagging. So have a wonderful evening. You guys have been fabulous, and I hope you are very happy and healthy wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for checking out. My name has been Mandy Celine. Thank you. The microphone's still on, isn't it?